Hello everyone and welcome back to Majesty to Kingmaker. And we've actually made it to the last mission, so all that's left is going to deal with Grog's avatar and his temple.
Your Majesty, while you were busy preparing for battle, I was thinking back to how it all started. Do you remember how it all began? There had been no sign of goblins for over 300 years, and then, suddenly, the nightmares of Lord Blackviper materialized into a whole horde of greenskins. Next, there were fights in the northern provinces, the shamans of Grog. 'Tis true, the goblins attacked your towns and stormed your fortress, but why? And why now? If Grog is so eager to return and rule the world, then he couldn't have picked a worse time to strike. For the conclave of priests is united, and the lands are under the protection of our great ruler, who is both young and strong. The god of plague had a whole city of followers, of which nobody knew a thing. Why should he risk it all now? Oh no, Your Majesty, there's much uncertainty in how this war began. But it is clear how it must end. There they are, the main temple of Grog and the leader of the goblins. It's time to resolve the matter once and for all. A new quest for you, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, before you lies the final bastion of the goblins. Who knows what cunning tricks and surprises they might have in store? Take care, sire. I have a sinking feeling that something is not quite right.
Okay, here we are. So as usual, let's start with the marketplace and the cleric's guild.
Your Majesty, I have just been informed that in addition to the Temple of Grog, there is also a Temple of Fervis on these lands. This is highly suspicious. What business have the Beastmasters here, in the secret city of the goblins? This temple must be found, sire. Your Highness, our research is complete. Your Highness, our research is complete. Sire, you must construct a level 3 mages guild on the site indicated. The mages claim that they can harness this dark source of power and use it to enchant artifacts. Majesty, a new building is complete. Your Highness, our research is complete.
Where to
Your Majesty, a new building is complete.
Yep, this mission is difficult, but not overly difficult. But the main issue with it is that, like all final missions in Majesty, it likes to crash a lot. That's actually...
Here it is, the main temple of the god of plague, Your Majesty. It is clearly larger than all the other temples, and the pumpkin marking the entrance is larger than any we've ever seen on goblin lands. The pumpkin is obviously a symbol of faith in Grog. What a pity we do not have time to explore the temple. It would provide excellent material for the Museum of Ardania. Your Highness, we've improved the guard tower.
Yep, I'm going to construct a couple of wizard's towers here, which I haven't really done before because I'm not the biggest fan of wizard's towers, because I mean they require you to micromanage them a little bit and also to basically like pay for their charges. I'm not the biggest fan of that. But I'm going to use...
The avatar of Grog is speaking! Those who protect the Defiler must die!
But I am going to use them this time, and there's a reason for that. So... yeah, there goes my ranger. So let's pay for a charge. And these towers are going to destroy these guilds here. You're probably going to say, hey, but Tex Albia, that's really cheap. Yes, it is. But, I mean, this game is cheap, so I might as well be cheap too. And I really don't want to play this mission over and over again, and then also having to play for, let's say, 1.5 hours, only to find out that the game crashes again.
This avatar keeps. Vampires cannot stand the god of plague. And it's no surprise. Imagine how unpleasant it would be to have the plague for eternity. Well, any ally of our enemy is our enemy, sire.
Yeah, this vampire is really strong and it's going to kill like all of my heroes. I just know it because this early fighting vampire is pretty difficult, so yeah, it's not going to end well because they have so much health. I have to get all my heroes on this one vampire here. It's nice for leveling up though. Put another trading post here. Bring back my cleric because I can really use clerics against these vampires. But that's basically the way to do it. Yeah, this. So here we go. All those guilds are down apart from this one here. And I'm going to try to get this one as well, even though it's kind of expensive. Let's hope the avatar doesn't destroy it, which he probably will. Nope. Maybe they only attack these buildings when those buildings are actually like using their magic attack. So are all my heroes alive? Yes, they actually are, which is kind of a miracle. So let's go for a second level palace. Yep, there we go. And there are already expert goblins going for this tower. Yeah, but as you can see, this tower is actually pretty strong. Though it does cost you money continuously, it is actually pretty good and it can be used as an emergency defense. I probably should have used it as an emergency defense at one point. But yeah, I didn't really do that, so yeah, whatever. Let's just kill these goblins here. Can I order the tower to attack stuff? No, probably can't. But should still do a good job, so yeah. And once the tower is at 100%, it's going to stop attacking, but yeah. So should I just have my... Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to have my heroes destroy this tower. It's probably going to end terrible, but let's just do it. And please kill this vampire. He's already half dead. I'm just going to give it a go. And this vampire here died, that's good. And none of my heroes died, which is kind of amazing, really. So let's build a blacksmith. Yeah, and one issue with crashing is that crashing also corrupts my video file, so I can't even show you the footage. Yep, please just bring it down. Just bring it down.
Looks like good. My ambition.
There we go. No more expert goblins, I think. Then run back right through these elementals and the avatar. And yeah, this guild here spawned the first goblin. That's okay. Those are just like standard goblins. I can deal with those. One of my warriors died. Where actually, yeah, I died here, so that's okay. I'm not going to help those heroes, they're just going to die, and that's an ogre. That ogre is actually kind of strong. Let's upgrade my blacksmith right away once it's actually repaired. Let's place another guard tower here because it's right next to the graveyard. Let's kill these wolves because apparently they killed my trading post. Nope. Here we go. And I see you in a bit. Take care. And welcome back, everybody. As you can see, I'm under attack by goblin experts. These ogres, which come ridiculously often. I already destroyed one of their lairs, but they still come in groups of 2 really often. And also by vampires, but these 3 dwarven towers here, they can usually deal with those vampires. And they are in a position where all of these towers can fire on one target, which is really useful because you don't want one tower to fire the target and then get taken out. I also upgraded all my stuff. Yeah, almost all my stuff. I got a bunch of wizards which haven't died yet, which is really amazing. And as you can see, that dwarf just stunned one of those elves. Yeah, that happens if you have both dwarves and elves. They don't like to cooperate, and they do like to attack one another. It's not too bad, it's not like they're killing one another all the time, but it's still something you should keep in mind. Yeah, and you're dead. And there's already the next ogre. And I want these elementals dead because I want an Agrella temple. This dragon is not much of a problem. It only has 2,500 hit points, and it seems a lot weaker than vampires, and even less of a threat than expert goblins, because expert goblins are just so good at destroying buildings that if you don't watch out, they can just level a guild in no time. Whereas these dragons, they usually attack your heroes. They have a physical attack. They have their breath weapon that attacks multiple heroes at once, but it's still not that big of a threat because it's usually better to have a couple of heroes which are hurt than having one hero which is dead and then can't fight, and you have to invest money to resurrect that hero, and while you do that you can't buy those upgrades because you need the money for something else, etc, etc, etc. So yeah, still prefer fighting dragons. And this Elven guild is kind of really badly damaged, but that's okay. Or maybe it's just the additional points from the upgrade, maybe. Who knows? More vampires, which apparently can still drain energy from buildings, even though it doesn't heal them. And just look at this expert goblin. This expert goblin here took like 1/3 of the health from one of my towers, and that's just a single expert goblin. It's not even like a boss monster, it's not even like an impressive dragon, it's just one foot soldier of the goblins, and he's basically alone. He's not coming with like 20 more goblins, which I then have to kill by micromanaging all the stuff, so yeah. I'm sure, yeah, these ogres, there are just so many of them. I'm pretty sure it was a good idea to... Please someone kill this wolf here. It was a good idea to... No, not my donkey. These exploration flags. Pretty sure it was a good idea to kill these goblin towers as soon as possible because they are annoying. And oh, there's apparently a dragon hanging out with these goblins here. Okay. There's actually 2 dragons. Wow. Okay, so these goblins are allied to vampires and dragons. Yeah. Makes sense to me. Get some warrior upgrades. Get the expert amulet of protection. Let's upgrade the ranger skills. Let's upgrade the cleric skills. And I shall see you in a bit. And we're back. So I think I'm going to go for this dragon here, because this dragon isn't really attacking me, it's just standing there and doing nothing. So let's check out what's up with it. Have I upgraded this trading post? Yes, I have. Basically got everything I can get, including this ridiculously expensive equipment. And my heroes are a little bit inner levels because I killed all those goblin guild first, but yeah, that's just so convenient that I wanted to do it. And to be honest, you kind of have to know this game and you kind of have to cheat it a little bit to be able to win these missions, because there are just so many missions where you just have to know where the monsters come from and everything.
Is most interesting, sire. The head of the Temple of Fervis explains that his beastmasters are hunting a particularly large and fearsome dragon. He says, moreover, that if the great ruler would help them slay this vile creature, in return, the servant of Fervis will gladly offer His Highness his humble assistance. Your Majesty, now heroes can gather into parties in a tavern.
Yeah, you basically have to know how this map works, so you can't really win doing your first time playing them, and it looks like the Temple of Fervis is like 20 meters away from this dragon cave. That's a little bit ridiculous. So let's explore this area. Let's rebuild this trading post here. And this trading post here is still standing, which is kind of amazing.
Forgive me.
This Agrella priestess is leveling up nicely just by attacking all those ogres. I like that. Yeah, nothing here, but there's a connection to like the vampire lands, which are like the usual wasteland lava lands. And if there's more holy ground or just more trading posts? Probably just more trading posts, because there's no elementals guarding it, so let's go for it. And let's also destroy the dragon's lair. which clearly is a quest building because it's not actually spawning dragons, it's just there to be destroyed. There we go.
For you, Your Majesty. Excellent! We have destroyed the dragon and his lair. The abbot of the Temple of Furbis is extremely pleased. So much so that he has immediately dedicated the temple to your personal use and promised to call upon the power of his god to summon wolves to further help you in your quest. The wolves will be unleashed when you give a special sign, the Shield of Chaos spell. Nevertheless, it seems to me that the abbot is still hiding something, Your Majesty, and he seems strangely afraid of you, sire.
Okay, that's mysterious. I mean, Fervus is one of, like, the Twilight gods, but still, Fervus is an official god, so why should this priest be afraid of me? And that expert goblin just one-shots my donkey. You know what, let's also build this Wizard's Guild here, just so I get whatever I actually get for it. Let's speed that up a little bit. Upgrade.
The Mages Guild is completed. The mages have successfully enchanted the artifacts and given them to your heroes.
Okay. So what does that actually mean? Well, this is just masterwork. Wait. Are those special weapons? Doesn't really look like it. Yeah, whatever. It's probably something good, I presume. So, I shall see you back in a bit. And welcome back. Though the game crashed again, obviously. So, let's just destroy these lairs here, because I'm getting tired of it, to be honest. And then let's go for the vampires next. Let's also destroy this dragon's lair here. And let's speed that up a little bit. And I also want these ogres dead. There's probably another ogre den here.
Let's see what my ambition has.
There we go. Called it.
My arrows in this?
Your Majesty, we found a whole treasure trove of useful artifacts in the destroyed castle of the vampires. Each piece is engraved with the monogram LB. That reminds me of something.
Random dragon, let's kill it.
Hit it from 100 paces.
And let's actually build a temple to Doros here.
Your Majesty, a new building is complete.
Let's get the Holy Shield spell. And let's get 2 paladins. This guy and this guy. Why are you engaging the avatar? Well, might as well try it. Let's get all my heroes interested in this guy. There we go, and let's use Chaos Shield for the Holy Shield. And let's also use Shield of Chaos.
The head Beastmaster keeps his word. As soon as you gave a sign, he summoned his wolves.
There we go. So let's see whether I can bring it down. doesn't seem to be that strong. I mean, it is strong, but not as strong as all those boss monsters, which like kill like 3 heroes in one hit. Yeah, this doesn't actually seem to be all that bad, to be honest. That's also... there are those wolves. Yeah. Well, he's just look at this mess. Woo! That was amazing. Yeah, and his bodyguards are pretty much dead as well, so... yeah, it's going down. It does have a knockback attack, but doesn't seem to use it all that often, so I'm alright with that. I think all my heroes are still alive. Let's use Shield of Chaos again.
The Avatar of Grog, Temple, Fire of Decay, Revenge!
The quest is completed, sire. At long last, the creature is dead. Congratulations, sire. You have never faced an avatar before, if I'm not mistaken. But look, your majesty, look! The goblins have gone wild! It seems the battle is not yet over.
Yeah, I don't care for these marksmen, just destroy the temple. Thank you very much. Shield of Chaos. Yeah, I got this. Right, the game doesn't crash again. Yeah. Just look at this firework of special effects.
The quest is completed, sire. Victory, your majesty! The surviving goblins have scattered in all directions. Although I dare say we'll meet them again. 'Tis all but guaranteed. In 10 years or so. By the way, I finally managed to solve the mystery that was tormenting me. While inspecting the ruins of the temple, I came across their largest pumpkin, and it was stuck with an arrow bearing the monogram Lord B etched in its shaft. Everything suddenly became clear. The goblins were not fighting you, nor were they attempting to conquer our lands. Their only goal was to take revenge upon one man, Lord Black Viper. 'Tis elementary, my dear sovereign. The goblins were celebrating their feast of the fire of decay, symbolized by a pumpkin lit by a candle. The Lord grew so frightened that he shot an arrow from the window of his castle, directly into the central shrine of the Greenskins. This promptly provoked them to summon the Avatar, and the retaliation began. Who knows why they did attack so many lands? 'Tis also worth inquiring where Black Viper fled. Aye, a single shot from a bow, and 300 years' labor on the restoration of Grumgog ends in stalemate. I wonder. But don't you worry yourself about these matters, your majesty. 'Tis almost certainly the case. And in any case, your action shall be engraved upon history without any trace of doubt to dull their glory. Thus was the great king depicted in the famous painting, The Battle at the Cursed Temple. Strong, resolute, heeding always the wisdom and counsel of his advisor, and gloriously triumphing over all his enemies.
Okay, that was Majesty 2, Kingmaker. This expansion was a little bit shorter than the main campaign, but I generally liked this one a little bit better. I think it wasn't all that difficult overall, and probably a little bit easier than the original Majesty 2. It was definitely easier than the Dragon mission and the Pretenders to the Throne mission and the very final mission, but it felt a little bit fairer. So in the original Majesty there were a lot of missions where you basically had to know what to do and when to do it, like the Skeleton King mission, where you had to know that the Skeleton King was going to attack you around, I think day 80 was it, and you had to be ready at that point, so you had to have paladins, and you also had to know a lot of stuff like the resurrection spell being really good, at least in my opinion. And when you play this expansion you already know that stuff, and I had the feeling the missions were less cheap. Yes, those goblins are annoying and the goblin experts are annoying, but on most missions you basically just had a goblin base attacking you and maybe 1 or 2 sticks for the map, like those elementals attacking you and stuff like that. But it felt a little bit fairer. It also was not quite as challenging at points, because in some missions you basically just had to get up those dwarven towers. At least in my opinion that's the best strategy, to get those dwarven towers, and the goblin would just melt away and there was basically nothing that could stop you, and you could just turtle until all your heroes had gained so much experience that you could just complete the main quest, whatever the main quest was. But I still like it. I like it that they brought in the goblin faction, because goblins fight slightly different. They're more organized, as I've said about 1,000 times, and they're bringing some flavor because they're classic fancy monsters. Of course they are basically just generic evil greenskins, but nevertheless they did have some flavor, like the whole pumpkin thing and the great shaman and everything. That was quite fun. And I also liked that there's basically a new threat that's not just rehashing what has already happened, and it's not just a bunch of like mission pack style missions as you had them in add-ons in like in earlier times, as in the mid-90s, where you basically just had a bunch of missions and they weren't really connected. So even though that's kind of no longer happening, most of the time you now have missions that are at least connected to the story in one way or another. So yeah, but we aren't finished yet. There are 2 more expansions. Battles for Ardania, which is the next expansion, and the Monster Kingdom expansion, and also the 4th unofficial expansion called Cold Sunrise. And after we've played those, there are also a couple of single missions. Those single missions aren't just maps you can play on, they're not just multiplayer maps. This game does have multiplayer, and multiplayer basically just means you have at least one other person also building up a kingdom and fight against you. And it also means you have, like, you're fighting against other heroes, so it's quite a different challenge. It's not just you versus the environment, as in this kind of asymmetric challenge. It's more like a symmetric challenge, as in most real-time strategy games, where you fight a guy which, for the most part, has the same stuff as you have. Also has a base, has builds unit, doesn't just spawn units, stuff like that, has to gather resources. So yeah. But those single-player missions, they are quite different. They're basically like missions related to the main storyline, so you get a little introduction from your advisor. There's like usually 1 or 2 special things about the mission, and they say you are only allowed to use those heroes, or you have to research a certain spell, or you have to destroy a certain building. And I kind of like those missions. They're kind of like additions to the main storyline, and I actually wish those missions would have been part of the original campaign, because all they really lack is maybe a tiny bit of Polish, and they also lack the Sean Connery style advisor's narration. Well, so you still get messages from your narrator, from your advisor, but there won't be any voiceover. So yeah, I still think they should have made those missions main missions, because they're basically as good, or maybe some are slightly less interesting, but most of them are as good as the campaign mission, so I might as well have extended the campaign. Because I will admit I'm mostly single player. I don't really like multiplayer all that much. I do like multiplayer in general, but for the most part I just like to face challenges against the AI, and also slightly unfair challenges where you kind of have to be a little bit more creative, and you have to use completely different strategies. As strategies which you would use against human players. But yeah, but it's not really true for all games, just true for a certain number of games. And I've played a little bit of Majesty 2 multiplayer. It is quite interesting, but it's also really random. In my opinion, the best strategy is basically to get a bunch of heroes, mostly clerics, because they can heal, that's really useful, and rogues because they're cheap, and maybe rangers and warriors as soon as possible, and just go for your enemy as soon as possible, maybe leaving a couple of heroes behind to protect your base, which you probably don't even need to do, because your royal palace is so strong it's unlikely to get destroyed by wolves or other like low-level creatures that are going to attack you early. And just go for your enemy's heroes, and as soon as you kill some more heroes than your opponent has, you've basically won, because at that point your opponent has to spend extra money resurrecting those heroes, and your heroes will gain levels in the meantime because they are going to destroy his buildings. And with the money you do not have to spend on resurrection, you can basically buy more heroes, more upgrades, so it's very, very difficult to recover from that. And it's not really easy to turtle. You can of course turtle, you can just build guardhouses, but hit and run is a pretty good tactic. You can just put a high bounty on one building and then just have your heroes destroyed and then run away. So yeah, multiplayer it's very swingy, so it's quite interesting, but it's not like a long-term thing I would like to do. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Let's Play, and I hope you also join me for the next add-on, Battles of Ardania. Take care and see you soon.